one time they showed me that where I am now, it's just one tiny fragment of me, that most of my soul resides in Pleiades.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, what the soul is and all these fragments? Because I get confused about what is an oversoul, what are parts of the soul, and how many parts we can actually, you know, yeah, how many parts are there to a soul?
It depends, you know, how your soul had its unique journey. It's not like a standard thing. But what is important for each individual when we start doing the inner holy work, the inner healing work, is that you begin to activate and draw forth other multidimensional parts of you that don't necessarily, you know, a lot of people when the awakening began were like, oh, I don't want to be here. I want to go back to this star system or that star system. And they didn't want to be here, which is really not anything has to do with awakening. We came here to do the work in the body. Ascension is the embodiment process. So we, those who have chosen to be here, we're doing the work here. So when we do this, we're connecting with these different particles of our soul and the oversoul. The oversoul is like the whole group of the soul. So each oversoul has 12, the group of 12, which is 6 couples. And this is the level where you no longer are the I, but you still remain your individualization. That's the beauty of it. Some people say, oh, when you go back to source, you just go back and you vanish. That's never the case. I think this author, when I mentioned to you,
Really?
he explains this very vividly in human terms when he says, well, it's kind of like a baby growing up, becoming an adult and wanting to return to a mother's womb. How does that happen? You cannot do it because you become your sovereign. A soul, when it's birthed, it's like a baby. It has all the potential, all the seed of all life. Like when you plant with the tiny seeds, it looks like a tiny seed. And then you say, well, how did it grow in this big pumpkin? How? From what? From that tiny seed? Is because that seed holds the sacred geometry, all the patterning for that to grow into that beauty. So it's like with the soul, when it begins this journey as an individualized aspect, it's kind of like new. It's like a baby. And then when you come in and gather all these experiences, you grow in knowledge and you also grow in love. And there is no knowledge without love. So, you know, there's this essence that we all embody, which is the threefolded flame, which is love, wisdom, and power. And we are not, it's not like we have this flame, we are this flame. So when a soul moves in these incarnation journeys, embodiment journeys, soul always has this. It's like the gift of the divine, the tiny little, what's not so tiny, you know, but as you grow in your experiences and the more you balance yourself, the more these flames will be balanced and equally burning. And this kind of shows like the journey of your soul. But you don't, when you come back to that 7th density, which is your individualized soul aspect, you don't just say, okay, now what? Now I go back to source. You can go back and serve the outer worlds who are still doing this shifting, and there's always ascending realities and always something that's changing in creation. It's an infinite process.
So you can go different places, for example, to different planets, and then you can meet up with your soul aspects as well? Or will you merge together with these 12 aspects of the soul in a way?
You merge, but at the same time, you still remain in all that is sovereign about you. You see, that's the beauty of it. So when you think of an ascended master, we don't talk about them, okay, we have an ascended master, Saint Germain, but he no longer exists because he went back to God. He still is an ascended master, Saint Germain, but also even as a master, he continues to expand. He continues to go higher, not like higher, because it's not a higher, lower thing. It's more like expanding, you know? So it's not like you just go back and you stop existing, because you were created for that reason.
Well, that's to
ask source through your own journey.
But for instance, me, will I always be, I won't be Jannecke, but will I always kind of feel that I'm me, although I'm connecting with the rest of my soul? I will just feel bigger, but I will still feel my part in a way.
Exactly.
That's good.
That's the thing. And that is how you recognize your twin soul, is that you only share that exact unique signature with the essence of your twin soul. Nobody, even your soul group, they have slightly different, very same, but again, it's unique. It's something, like I said, that you can only experience when you're on that level. Even I'm talking about it, I'm just transferring, but I'm now sitting here as my human self, you know. And before I get to that level again, in moving all the way there, I still am just here. So that is why I don't take these things so much mentally. I always focus on the guidance that will be presented to me here and now. And this is how the divine works. The divine serves through putting things that are important and essential for here and now. And as humans, we like to always be ahead of ourselves, you know? And we don't like to have that feeling that we're going to lose our identity, you know? And yet we somehow feel we want to come home and yet feel, you know? And this is the whole thing about this awakening process and ascension, is that you don't lose your identity at all. There's a lot of people who are saying you move back into source and that's all there is. But in truth, you move in source as it flows specifically only through you. And yet, when you're like that we again, you also can feel one with all the other aspects of you and with all that is, because your awareness is much more expanded. And the thing is that we really don't lose the identity. And like I said, when the master is, let's say, Ascended Master Saint Germain, he does not stop existing. He's still there. He's still doing the work. And even his assignments will continue to shift.
Yeah, and I just interviewed a lady about Mary Magdalene. It's an interview that's coming because she's channeling Mary, and Mary is totally still alive in another dimension. And I started thinking about Mary and her message for today. And is it maybe correct or right, perhaps, to say that Jesus and Mary were twin souls? I mean, they were the perfect union of yin and yang?
What I believe is that they were the perfect example of divine partnership. But in truth, what many people who have the Ascended Master teachings, they refer to Jesus's, well, Sananda's twin soul as, what is her, Lady Nada. But Mary Magdalene was his divine partner in that life. So they were perfect together in that incarnation. And as you know, there's many things that people, this is our problem. The moment we see something, we're like, what was that? Were they this? Were they that? And everybody sees that instead of the purpose that they did. They brought so much because a lot of it was hidden. A lot of these truths that they were sharing were so deeply hidden, because I read this novel that was written after the Gospels, the sacred Gospels of Mary Magdalene, the Nag Hammadi texts. And the woman, she beautifully portrayed this, that actually when they were traveling together with the apostles, they were always teaching about the importance of marriage and communion and the man and wife. So like we shared before, it's important to remember it internally, but to have marriage also in the physical form, to experience a union with another also in the physical is also important. Because why? Because we live in this realm. So people who only want to waken up mentally and say, it's okay, I only live my inner reality. Well, of course, this is the first step. Because your inner senses will always create what you're experiencing. It's like layers. Whatever you're vibrationally tuning into, you will be creating for yourself. And this goes way beyond just the basic perspective of law of attraction, because people make this law the only law there is, and they lose a sense of other laws, which are also in alignment with that. And when you understand all the principles of creation, you will see that they need to go hand in hand, not just exclude one, and this is all there is. And we don't understand yet how we really create in the bigger sense. So
yeah, because we do have soul contracts as well. Yes. Things are planned in a way.
Yes, but let's say you have a soul contract before you're coming here, and yet you have a specific way that you will grow in this creation experience. And let's say you already transcended something for your growth and you no longer need it. That is why also when we were ascending in this new program, we received new divine blueprints, enhanced blueprints. Because let's say even the plan for Earth is constantly shifting, because in creation worlds, nobody knows everything ultimately how it will happen. That is why I never trust people who say, this is what will happen, period. You see how many times they said the world will end, nothing happened. And the thing is also many other prophecies never came true, because we are molding it like clay as we go along. And this is why I always say the spirit guidance will always come for now. What is now is essential, is needed, is for greater good. What is tomorrow, we will see, we'll be guided. And this is the level that I talk about, the twin soul, your inner communion and your own sacred marriage, and then you creating a beautiful, intimate partnership with somebody in divine timing that suits you both in your journey. If that is what you desire, that is also a very important part of it. Because like I said, we do live in a world that is changing density. and it's getting lighter and lighter, so relationships are changing, and that's what we sometimes no longer want. What before we liked, people had these push and pull relationships which were full of, you know, these lower emotions, and now all of a sudden they're like, I don't want this anymore. And then when you say, okay, now I don't want this anymore, the proper next question that comes is, okay, so then what I do want, what do I want? And this is what is most important to me when I think about, you know, when people say, wow, what will you attract? What kind of relationship? What are you going to write down, you know, to manifest? It's more in terms of, it's transpersonal. Twin soul union is transpersonal. It's more, how can we be of greater service to this whole? How can we merge more and more, even if that's meant to be physical? How can we do it that it will be also serving all that is, not just for us, you know? Okay, now I meet somebody who's perfect for me, and then we just run out, elope, and I stop doing my work. I can never even imagine that. And I had situations with men who came to me and wanted to be with me, but they couldn't be with me because they weren't ready to do the work that I'm doing. Not like mine specifically, but they weren't equal partners yet. They had a lot of inner work to do, and that's perfect, because unconditional love is embracing what that person brought to you, what they activated in you, what you activated in them. This is what we do. And then also letting them go to their own path if that is so needed. But what I see with people is they're so fixated on this must be my partner that it becomes too obsessive. And this is the old paradigm. The new paradigm is that freedom. And it's like chasing a butterfly. If the butterfly belongs to you, if he wants to be with you, he'll come and he'll bless you with touching you with its wings. And this is how this is. Something that you're already seeking also already seeks you. It's how it is.
Oh, that was beautiful.
It's how it is.
I like that.
But we do have this feeling of, why am I not getting it? Am I not deserving? Am I doing something wrong? Am I not the right way? This is the mind. And it's just, anything can never be wrong, you know? It's just, Source is trying to show us what is there that is magical. And the moment we awaken that magic, we gotta maintain it. You know, it's just how it is. It's how I see it. So this is what I would say, you know, this to be of greater cosmic service. And this was the first one I did. It's called The Lovers.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
How are you the lovers? You see, they're equal partners. They're not just together, let's say, now we're actually having fun. We're just taking care of ourselves. But they're also being in galactic service. So they're like, they kind of look like a couple from maybe Galactic Confederation or half angelic. It doesn't really matter. It's what I do, the painting, the energy comes through. So this is how I really imagine the true lovers are not just lovers for themselves, but they share their love with the world. So let's say you meet somebody who's passionate about the same things as you are, and that's like perfect match. And you will inspire each other. And that inspiration is actually the sacred sexual energy that flows through you both, because creativity is that sacred sexual energy. And it's very important. That is why when humans focus too much on just the upper chakras, instead of bringing that upper source energy down into their base chakras, they don't allow the energy to cycle. So we have a lot of people who read a lot, research a lot, but they never start creating something on their own, because human beings are creator beings. And I showed this one with this one, which is, you see, they meet in a tantric union. Doesn't have to be, it's not like our sexuality as we see it now, but it's a higher form of sexuality when they connect. And you see this energy creates this heart. And this heart is the seed of their creativity. What this couple, and why they're naked is because, well, they're not fully naked. He has a male, you see, like a leaf, Adam's leaf and Eve's leaf. It's like, again, feminine seed, masculine, golden, and silver. But they stand together naked means that they're without filters, no projection. They're just pure with each other. People still have a fear of intimacy. You know, that's why they sometimes, when a relationship gets too intense, they run away. And they can't see yet their inner shadows. And that's why all these soulmates, or whatever we might call them, all these beautiful people that resonate with us on a certain part of the journey are meant for, to reawaken our inner magic, to help us ignite these sparks so that we will see how it is to just be. And to just be naked with each other. That means no filters, no baggage.
Yeah, because I was just thinking now that, okay, we are... or we have sexual intercourse to have children, but at the same time you're speaking about this creativity, and that a sexual intercourse can be also something magical and something very spiritual. And I guess we're also meant to be together for that kind of purpose.
Yes. Well, creation, on the level of creation, it doesn't necessarily have to be a child. a couple can birth for, I don't know, their house. So they will build a house to guest other people who will be coming there, you know, with the people who are doing these, I don't know what they call them, these secret safe houses, or, you know, they have these retreat centers, or I don't know, maybe they're sharing music with the world. Whatever they're doing it together. There's a lot of couples who are already doing it, and these couples are not saying, look, we're twin flames now, this is why we're doing this. They're just doing it. They're not even thinking mentally. And it doesn't mean that it will be what you mentioned, sexual intercourse. It's like a very physical way of seeing it. But when you start merging with this, I call this the sacred sexuality, which is the energy flow between the two people. So when you're awake on that level, when your lower chakras are fully alive, you just want a certain person who will vibrate similarly, or just maybe something you will need to experience with them. Your lower chakras, without any physical contact, you will already feel them. It's like I experienced this as this beautiful tingling sensation in the base, and it moves up, and then it goes all the way up. And the sacred sexuality means that the two people who are pure with each other, they can pull that energy up and bring it through the heart, and then expand it out through the cosmic heart together. And
what happens then? Then they create something even stronger than they can do alone, in a way?
They ripple that energy, which is their own intimacy. They ripple it out. Why intimacy is so important for most people is because we can be so engaged in our mind that when with somebody you love, I've noticed this with people, it's hard for them to be really present. A lot of times they go into mind, especially with men. Men are not so heart-centered yet. For men, it's more difficult. Women are doing it much more advanced in this age, and that's why they're guiding men how to do it as well. And for men, they're still more vulnerable in that terms. You know, the masculine side of the polarity on this planet was very distorted. But why it is so is because the feminine part was so negated. As you know, they were hiding, how they were hiding the Mary even existed with Jesus. All these aspects, the sacred feminine principle was hidden. And because of that, the whole karmic cycle ended up by men being now so disconnected from their inner feminine, because they were suppressing it for so long that they in terms are feeling it so much now. And this is why they maybe have more work to do now, more blossoming into that beautiful wholeness of their own. But the thing is that why intercourse, we call it like that, I call it sexual intimacy, so important, because at that level, for most humans, it's the level where they can really be without thoughts or thinking or escaping somewhere. They're just present, and they're just feeling that beautiful energy when they're just there with another, fully present, without thinking what they need to do tomorrow, today. And when that happens, magic happens. And this is where this flow, if you know how to move it through the heart, a lot of people who are still engaging in lower sexuality, which is pleasure, you know, just this physical pleasure, not that higher pleasure, which you can feel it all over your whole body. You can have this whole cosmic orgasm when you reach that level of awareness.
Wow.
It's that everybody can. It's not like, again, a special ability. It's our basic nature. Because when we were created as these unique bubbles of love, we were created through that tantric union.
I was just very curious. What is a cosmic orgasm?
It's like when let's say you experience yourself only in this human level, only as your body, your thoughts, and these lower levels. And when you have a sexual intercourse and you do it for pleasure, you will feel it very locally based. When you experience yourself as a galactic being and your whole flow of energy, it's not like it's just up, it moves down too. Like I said, the inner and outer work is important. Also, the upper chakras, the lower chakras alignment. And this is where the sexual tantric union can actually take place. I've met people who had these centers fully blocked. We have also beliefs that sexuality is dirty and is bad. And at the same time, what they're showing us with the sexualization, through the media and all of this, it's like it's very dirty at the same time. So it's like this constant conflict in a human being until you reach the level when you blossom into understanding what is pure tantric bliss. It means presence. It means full presence, full openness, full intimacy with another. And there's people who are teaching a lot about this, about Tantra, about deep intimacy between partners and how you actually grow together spiritually. Because when you open your sexual energy, it means you're grounding your presence. That's the important part, If you live it here, it's always going to be like chasing it here somewhere, but you never bring it through your body. And people who choose that path, they choose it through growing spiritually also by putting it in the lower chakras and then moving it up again. It's a cycle. It's always a cycle. And when it's only physical, like physical pleasure, to get it out of your system, it's a very superficial level.
You waste the energy, maybe?
That's what a lot of people feel, that tiredness after it. If the man doesn't know how to pull it back in the heart and move it up, they will always feel tired after.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's not our natural state at all. It's just because our sexuality was so manipulated on this planet. And it got very distorted. And you see what happened with the whole pornography and all of this. It's just because everybody, even that, is a state when you're seeking for something. You want to experience this bliss, and what it means is you want to feel at home, and this is your source. Everybody, no matter what kind of low level of activity they engage into, it's all like a matter of escape, instead of just really, really seeing, what am I really always all my time looking for? Even people who are looking for a perfect partner all the time, like some people do it even, like obsessively, too much, always looking for somebody, cannot be alone, cannot be whole on your own. It's just because you never really found that home within you. And sexuality is a huge part of it, because we have this body, and it's important to create, not just to make babies, which is, again, one part that it's important, because, we bring the new humans through our birth canal, but also it's important because we have our hands, we have our legs, all these are parts of how we create, but also energetically, because everything happens as an energy essence first. So even when a child, before it's conceived within the couple, that says, okay, now let's create a baby as a part of our union, and they do it through purity, not just that, okay, it's obvious how it needs to be, so let's just do it. They're fully conscious of what's going to take place. And even before that, it's already happening on higher levels first, and then it gets physical. So everything should always be like that, and it is like that. It's just a matter of us aligning more with that awareness. And then really, really basing all of our relationships on this purity. And purity will come when you live in your source.
And be more conscious about our choices then, you're saying. Yeah.
If a woman is with a man, well, it goes vice versa. But why it is maybe more challenging for women? Because we're the womb. We're the receptive energy. So we absorb everything that comes through a man inside of us when we just open up without thinking. And that's why a lot of women who just don't have sexual experiences with awareness, they carry all these energies and these fragments that are not even their own. Yes, it's what a lot of people who teach Tantra and this teach about, how to become sexually sovereign and how to really be in your independent sacral energy. And the thing is, like you said before, that inner blossoming work for yourself, so that all your chakras are in flow. They're like this constant flow. Because what's the point of you being connected to spirit if you can't bring that light through your body? The light that you bring to the planet needs to be seeded through. It goes through your root. And if your root chakra is not fully open and you have a lot of these fears and survival, and even your sacral energy, your center, all these fears that you still have about intimacy and desires and, these things, you can never fully move it through in all its capacity. Imagine that pure light that needs to go through all these filters and clog energy. At the end, through the tunnel, a very little of it actually gets out. So that's why we need to purify those centers in order to do this work. And work isn't always just physically doing something. Like, let's say a divine couple have a project that they will physically fulfill, but a lot of their work just happens with them being in their bubble of love and just being present with each other, and it's to perfection.
So I guess to sum it up in a little bit, in a way, it's more about looking within and to, I'm calling it the inner work, in lack of words, actually. But to have the focus inside, instead of looking outside for that perfect soulmate or, whatever you want to label it, but try to purify yourself and know what you want in a way, and try to have that, a bigger perspective in a way than I want this, I want a man because I want to get married before I'm 36.
This is all old. These are all these beliefs that we have. But it's true, we really need to first know what we want. But then what we want, we need to embody ourselves. So let's say I was a few years younger, and I would say, before I was doing this work, and I would say, I want a spiritually open partner that's doing all this beautiful service work, and yet I'm not doing it myself. I didn't empower myself. So empowerment is all about embodiment. It means I stand in the power of what I feel, I also deliver it. Because I'm not just my feminine, which is I'm receiving through spirit. I'm open, I'm getting the visions. But then the masculine is that action, it's that light, it's that sharing, it's that action energy that moves things forward. Together they co-create. And the thing is, if I don't yet embody this, I won't meet my counterparts that can hold this energy because I don't yet embody myself. And that's why a lot of people, they have such huge desires, but they didn't yet embody these things on their own.
That makes sense. To become yourself, what you want to attract.
And here's the thing, the only thing that's really, really, really important when you get to the very core is trusting the divine, because your soul already chosen this path. It's like you're just downloading it. You're just like mirroring a mirror image of your soul here. And when you trust that if this is your path, if you somehow really deeply feel it inside of you, it's what it will be. But we're not patient enough. We want everything right away. Everything became like this. We want everything instantly, you know, like a fast food kind of thing. You know, we want everything so fast. We want to grow fast, we want to evolve fast, we want to have a partner that's going to be right there and perfect. And when you embody perfection, the woman always holds the space. There's also this great woman who talks a lot about these partnerships. And I think she's even coaching women how to be more in their powers in terms of these twin flames. And she always says the same. She says it's source. In the end, it's source. And she talks about it more from an empowered kind of sense. You know, what do you really want from a partner? Let's move more in that direction because it is practical. If you're serving the planet, you're doing it here in this body. And it's not just in your mind. So she always said that the goddess is, I always felt this so much. So when I heard her say it, I was like, that's how it is. Because Spirit showed me, you just hold the space. And I said, what does that mean? And in the end, I started understanding this better. And she always says, the goddess doesn't chase for her man, she attracts him. But she needs to become this herself. And then she holds the space, the vision. And if someone doesn't resonate with the real image of what somebody embodies for you, and you already do, it may not be the end deal, you know, the final journey. But everybody wants now the final, the last deal. We want it. Even though our journey is infinite and we don't trust these steps. Let's say you meet a divine partner who fits you so much in one moment, and then one day you wake up and you no longer feel it and you think there's something wrong with you. But
and then you feel that, why did I go into that relationship in the first place? You know, it's all wasted. We tend to think like that.
Because we don't trust the divine. We don't trust that every step is perfect as it is. The right person always comes, and the right person always also leaves if it's their time to leave. Because the thing is, we look at things so much through attachment. But when we really understand that we're growing and expanding and somebody doesn't grow with us, or somebody doesn't want to serve the way we do, we just can't stay with them if we're so moving into another direction. It goes against the very nature of our soul. And there's a lot of people who say they're light workers, and yet they stay in these toxic relationships that are not really, you know, fulfilling them and fulfilling the purpose. And there's also a lot of people that I see that are saying, I will do my mission, but first I need to meet my twin flame. It's like, wait a minute, you're conditioning. The service, first of all, is unconditional. You live in a heart, you just give. You don't think. You don't think what you're doing. Like you said, I'm just guided to do these interviews. I want to expand this. You don't think about it. Why am I doing this?
It's a really strange feeling because I have no clue why I'm doing it, and I have no clue where it's going. I just know I need to do it. And I've never felt that way before. It's really strange. I just know I have to do it.
So let's say you've always had something you felt about your partnership. You always had like this vision how it will be for you. That's the main thing. We read a lot about these relationships, how it's supposed to be. Some people even say it's hard work. It's supposed to be hard work when your relationship, maybe on that level when people are still not inner whole and they're doing the work, and sometimes it's hard for them. But once you really embody your soul and you become free in flow, you know, my fellow friend, she's also an ascension guide. She always says to me that this is the old perspective, that the new is all about flow, effortless flow. Because if you already live in the flow and you meet somebody who's still struggling and pushing head against the wall, and they will tell you, no, but it needs to be heavy because it's just how I grow. Well, maybe for them, if they still want, their soul still needs that experience. But if you feel for you it's something else, listen to yourself. And that's the thing when most people, again, go off their journey, is when they read something and they engage in it too much that they think it also needs to be their journey. You know, not everything can be generalized. The whole nature of our truth as a twin soul can be generalized because we're all. But how the union comes, how it is with you, how you have your own beloved language, your own energy transfer, how it will be for you, anything in your relationship, you kind of feel within. And it's like that inner knowing, which everybody has, but we're so afraid to trust it, because if it won't be this way, then we're going to be so disappointed and all the world will fall apart, because we're afraid. And yet Source keeps calling us back to that intimacy with the self, that trust, you know, kind of feeling like a child when every day it's just magical. Every day you create something new. And those of us who are walking this ascension journey, we really feel how our lives are getting more and more simple, how everything is just more in flow. And when we see people who are still struggling, we just show them, look, there's another way, you know? You can do this. It's not a hard thing. And the same goes with relationships. We don't have to struggle. We need to focus on ourselves, how to embody these divine qualities: purity, integrity, trust, commitment, intimacy. You know, everybody wants a partner who's always out there for them. But if they're the ones who are still playing the chasing game, then that's what they're going to keep creating in a partnership. So a divine partnership is that without baggage, without filters. And this is what I feel all relationships in the new earth are going towards. It's just now where we are, maybe some are a few steps ahead, some are still doing, you know, the drama work. It's all needing to really honor where we are. And trusting that no relationship was ever to waste or a waste of time, because that's how you grew. That's how you got to where you are now. It's like stepping stones. Each one, when you maybe are on a path that you had many relationships, you could probably see when you look back that each one was more and more expanding. And it means because you were growing, it means you're ready for more and more. And when we want the ultimate right here, right now, before doing, you know, that inner blossoming and really trusting our source, then we really are doing the conditional work, you know? It's like, source, give me.
It makes really sense, and it's really good to hear this. I feel like I get this calm feeling that I can just relax. It's just in proper order. I have time. I can be patient, and I can just do, you know, do what I'm doing right now and work on myself. And yeah, not care about, you know, society that are saying that, oh, you know, you're this old, shouldn't you be doing this or doing that? Or that is just really in divine order. And it's just, even though I know that, it's very good to hear again, because this makes so much sense to me. It just speaks right to my heart. So thank you for that.
It needs to make you peaceful. Yeah. Truth always makes you feel simple and at peace. Untruth makes you feel complicated, and your mind always engages, you know? So when you're in a relationship that you feel that this one really resonates, but at the same time you say, oh, but it's not the person that I really, really feel was my ultimate, and yet you're still drawn to the relationship. Don't worry about it, because that person is what you need in this now. We all want the one right here, right now, but maybe we forget about this now. We're so escaping this now moment, and we forget to enjoy with that person. With that person, if they're there and it feels intense, we have work to do with them. It might not always be the service work, but we have some sort of work to do. Maybe we're
trust that. Yeah, instead of thinking, what should I do with this person tomorrow or a year from now, but be in the moment.
Let life show you. Let life show you go. Right. And when you know if you're going to be guided some other way, the voice will come. You know, we're so afraid. Sometimes we don't want to engage in them because we already make like this. We take something that happened before in our lives and we project it to now. This is projection. And we're like, oh, then it's going to be bad again and we're going to break apart. And oh, I don't want to, you know, so you out of safety to protect yourself, you don't go deeper into intimacy. But that's what your inner home source is like. It's continuous opening. It's continuous intimacy. Even though that person might not stay, can you still unconditionally be with them at that moment? Can you give your all? This is service. You don't just do service with the work you're doing like I do as Ascension Pioneers, you do videos or other things you're doing. The work is yourself. The biggest work or job we all have on the planet now is to become our highest potential embodied. And this is our best assignment ever.
Thank you so much. This was really profound and beautiful. And I feel like maybe one day we can do another video, because I feel like I can speak with you about so many different topics, actually. Yeah. So where can people find you, if you can let people know?
Well, they can just type in Ascension Pioneers, Google, and everything will come out. I have a lot of pages, but all my links are actually, I think, the easiest way to get all my links is on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which is Ascension Pioneers, spelled together. And I have all my links to all my pages. I do so many things, which is what we said before, multidimensional nature in this body now. I do a lot of soul art, source art. I do blogging, I do videos, I do writing, so I do so much. But my main page is still ascensionpioneers.org, and with a dash, ascension-pioneers.org. But otherwise, everybody who's guided, they can always find me just by typing Essential Pioneers, and that's simple as that. I really never like to advertise myself too much because I believe in the workings of spirit. The right people always find me if they're ready. Sometimes they look, they leave. The ones who meant to stay, who feel that's how they grow also and benefit from it, that's what it's sort of happening.
That's so nice. I just loved having you on my show, and keep up the wonderful work. And thank you so much for watching, guys. And I do really recommend checking out Polona's channel on YouTube. Much light from Slovenia and from Oslo. Bye bye.